This is Vinath Udamsine, and he was sentenced to 3 years in federal prison after he purchased a Pokemon card. To be specific, a first edition holo Charizard for $57,789. But it wasn't his money that he spent, it was the government's money. And I promise that this is one of the wildest stories that you'll ever hear, and you won't be able to bayleaf the details. This guy was only sentenced a few days ago, but back in late 2020 is when this story begins, back when the pandemic was at its peak. Vinath Udamsine received $85,000 from the US government as part of the economic disaster loan program that the US government put into place to help struggling businesses. He had claimed that he had been running a business with 10 employees, and that he had a gross revenue of $235,000 during the 12 months before the pandemic hit. Then 5 months later, once the funds were in his account, he bought the card. However, according to prosecutors, none of this is true. He never had 10 employees. He never made that money the 12 months before. I honestly don't know how they missed this. He made it all up so that he could steal almost $100,000, and I guess you could end up calling him the Wolf of Scissor Street. Please tell me someone gets that reference, or at least appreciates my terrible dad jokes. Anyway, this brings us to today. He's now been charged with a sentence of 36 months, 3 years, in federal prison. To be specific, he's been charged and it falls under one count of wire fraud. He's also been fined $10,000 and he has to pay back the $85,000 and serve the 3 years under supervised release once he's out, and there is no parole or anything along the lines added to this. And on top of that, he's also had to pay lawyer fees and so much more that goes into something like this, and he's gonna have to be in prison for 3 years, so time. Yeah, that's a biatch. And if you're wondering, the card has now been seized by the US government, and a decision on the matter still hasn't been made if it'll be sold or what's going to happen to the card. Most likely, it will end up being sold to recoup losses that the US Attorneys General went through all this and the proceedings and all that. And to be honest with you guys, if the government does end up selling this card, I think this card should be viewed as like one of the most rare cards ever. Just because of the whole situation, it's just ridiculous. Someone really needs to buy this card if it's made available, like they really do. And I'm thinking, what about Logan Paul? I'm looking at you, Logan Paul. I honestly think it would make a really good video, like buying a card from the US government that was seized, something, you figure out the title and thumbnail, you're better at it than me. I suck, I get like 1,000 views on my videos these days. Actually, you know what, I'm gonna message Logan Paul right now. Well, not message him, because I don't know the guy, he doesn't even know I exist, but here we go. I'm gonna tweet him publicly, so yeah. Oh man, I'm such an idiot, but I think this should work. Now finally, let me know in the comments, because I'm wondering something. What happens to the guy that originally sold the card to this guy? The one who took the money that was taken from the government to buy this card. What happens to him? Does he technically have to give the money back because it was stolen money or whatever the term is? I'm not too sure, but what happens there? I hope he doesn't have to give the money back, because if he has to give the money back, that would just be truly unacceptable. Just like me grabbing one of my cards and ripping it. Don't worry, it was just an energy.